I'm getting ready to meet with Chase Hurley, who's here to talk about the groundwater recharge program. He's a local expert, knows a ton about irrigation and water delivery, and we're anxious to hear more about how they're reducing groundwater overdraft. Let's go meet him. I'm Mike Wade with the California Farm Water Coalition. We travel California to help people make the connection between farm water and the food, fiber, and nursery products we all love. So behind me is Sac Dam, and this is one of the historic pieces of infrastructure in California irrigation. It actually goes back to the late 1800s with Henry Miller, when they used physical sand-filled sacks to stop the river, to dam it, and to move water out for irrigation purposes. And it's really remarkable. It's changed over the years. The infrastructure that's here, the dam that we see, was built in the 40s and replaced the original sacks that went in and came out every year. But I do want to talk a little more about why we're here. And today we have Chase Hurley, and Chase is here to talk about the infrastructure and the things that are going on to resolve the groundwater subsidence issue. So what's happening with this, Chase? What's going on?
Yeah, so we've made a great deal of improvement over the last 5 years. San Luis Canal Company, whose facilities are right behind me, along with Central California Irrigation District, realized back in 2011 and 2012 that their facilities were losing capacity. And through a lot of hard work and effort with the Bureau of Reclamation and DWR, they found out that based on the huge amount of groundwater pumping from below the Corcoran clay, that subsidence was rearing its head in this specific area, just like it did down in the southern part of the state in the early 70s. So San Luis and CCID did a lot of effort to do some public relations work with their neighbors to the east, and to try to fight the subsidence, with the main goal of taking care of Sac Dam. So Sac Dam is the only diversion point for San Luis Canal Company, 45,000 acres of productive farmland, and since 2011 they've lost pretty close to 15% of the capacity. So the dam has sank in this area. The canal, which distributes the water, San Luis Canal Company, has not. So we're pushing water uphill. So instead of being able to divert around 610 cubic feet per second in the middle of the summer, it looks like so far we've only been able to divert around 550 feet.
And the subsidence is a result of what?
Yeah, the subsidence in this area is a result of pumping, extreme pumping at a depth roughly below 330 feet. That's where the Corcoran clay layer is out here. And when you extract the water below the Corcoran clay, the pressure differential, when you pull that water out of the clay layer, it collapses the clay. The pressure differential collapses the clay, and when it does, the ground surface comes with it. So we have to put a program together where we decrease the demand of groundwater necessary from below the Corcoran clay. So really those are the big things: putting infrastructure in to sink water when it's available in the flood system, potentially not farm as many acres, and then bring as much surface water into this area as you can, are really the three hinge points of what we're working on.
So this looks like nice productive farmland. Is this part of the program area?
It is. So now we're sitting on the east side of the San Joaquin River, and looking to the east now is what we call the beginning of the red top area. The red top area, as it relates to our site-specific project, is 25,000 acres, around 13 landowners that are working with the canal company and CCID to try to mitigate the amount of subsidence that we're seeing in this area.
So part of the solution here to over-pumping is putting in new wells.
That's right.
Shallow.
They're shallow wells. So the goal is to put in new wells that are shallow above the Corcoran clay, so no deeper than roughly 280 to 300 feet. But to do that, you got to have a basin of water there. And Mother Nature has helped us the last year and a half by having a lot of flood water come into the system, and we're putting water into the ground. And we think if we put a program together, Mother Nature works with us, and every 3 or 4 years we get that flood water, we can keep that basin in good enough shape where we can do the vast majority of our pumping from the shallow aquifer. San Luis Canal and CCID hope that another year or two from now, when you come back out here, that all this land will be under similar mitigation agreements where everyone's working together to come to a common goal of how much water to pump from the deep aquifer.
This pumping plant is a big part of the infrastructure that's needed to make this project work.
So these are two 20 cubic feet per second pump stations, and they tie into a single pipeline, and then it diverts again into a dual pipeline system as it heads east. Serves roughly around 15,000 acres. At this point in time, can get water to 4 different landowners. 40 cubic feet doesn't get you a lot of water as it relates to 15,000 acres, but it's a good start. And we'll build on this on future projects. Where the goal is within the next 5 years to maybe have another similar siphon across the river at a different location that'll deliver water in the Red Top area.
This is where you clear cut the river. You got to have a permit for this, the water or the vegetation that was taken out.
Yeah, we had to work with various agencies. It took us around 2.5 years to get it done. The Bureau of Reclamation, Corps, a lot of different folks. But we did clear cut the river, buried it roughly 15 feet below the bottom of the channel here. This whole thing is the San Joaquin River. There's around 180 cubic feet per second in the river now, and the fine channel, the small channel. But really excited. This is the first big project in terms of the Red Top area that we constructed for the benefit of moving surface water from the west side of the river to the east side through the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors Water Authority. So it's functioned very well. As I said earlier, we've moved a couple thousand feet already with a goal of somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000 feet maybe on an annual basis, depending on year type, that we would sell to some willing buyers over here on the east side of the river.